Alright, in this episode I probably go into a little more detail about getting the fuel fill neck and the cover and all that done on this car. But it's a good example of how long something actually takes to do. Even the little pieces take a long time, and I got quite a bit of time in this part. These shows that are on TV where you see cars have to be done in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever, and they're starting off with a car similar to what we're doing. I just don't see the quality of a job being there when they're done. I've heard stories about some of the cars. I've never personally seen one, so I'm not going to say for sure, but to me, I just don't think the quality is going to be there on some of these cars. So if you're building a car and you get a little distracted as to how long it's taking versus how long it takes on TV, it's normal. It takes a long time to build a car like this. But anyways, take a look at this. Alright, we're working on getting the fuel fill in. This is a 55 Chevy Bel Air fuel tank, sedan, whatever. This end was just soldered onto the fuel tank, luckily, so he's heated it up, pulled the end out, re-angled it up, got just a couple small tacks on it now, and then we took a 55 Chevy fuel fill neck because we needed the right diameter with the O-ring to slide in here. This piece just slides in, and then right now we're working on fitting it up to the Studebaker quarter panel and down in. So that is our next step. Getting that fit in there. Alright, we got our fuel neck all tacked together. We'll probably have someone professionally weld it. We used a piece of pool handle that we actually had that fit just inside of it, but you'll never see this, so they won't be able to see the step. This is the piece of pool handle we used right here that made the extra curve. And we shorten that down, and then I made a template here to simulate the floor. I have to transfer it over to the actual floor. Put this in here, put it right in there like that, and sit right about there. And then we can make something that resembles this. It's a Studebaker piece here, the original one off this car. Make a little bit longer and cover up that tube and you'll never see it. I'm getting ready to bend the piece for the fuel tank fill neck cover inside the trunk. Just putting a crease where I'm going to fold it over at 90 degrees. And I'll fold it over 90 degrees, do some shrinking and stretching on it, and hopefully it'll curve over. We'll find out, I guess. Alright, we're trying to make this fill neck cover that goes inside the trunk. This is the factory rotted out piece. We came fairly close our first time with this one, but then when I cut it to clear part of the reinforcement on the trunk, when we shrunk it, it pooched it out, ruined it, and then I ruined it even more just sampling stuff on it. But it was really close right before this happened. So our second try was this piece. We made it a little longer, and as I was shrinking it in the shrinker, it buckled right here. Didn't catch it in time. And Dad is working on another one. The last one, we started doing it, and it started putting a weird crease back here in it. So we ended up cutting the back of it off. So he's trying to work this one out. I'm trying to work this one out. We'll see which one we end up with, if any of them. And we've been working on this for probably about 6-7 hours total. Mm-hmm. Trying to straighten out. I used a hammer trying to get the roughness out of the panel using the concave roller on the bottom. As you can see, it's getting there.
Hey, what are you doing, Dan?
Not having much luck.
Okay, we're going at this piece here, and we took this off of one of the other pieces that we failed to make work right. We're going to weld it on there for the end and then weld a flange on it. And then we'll have our fuel fill cover. Alright, here's our fuel filler neck cover. We got it tacked together. We still got to obviously do the final welding. Got a little bit of a gap to fill, but it shouldn't be too bad. Alright, here's the piece we got it final welded and ground down. Don't care too much about the inside because it'll never be seen. But that's what she looks like. We will drill holes through this in the floorboard and bolt it in so it can be removable if we ever need to take the fuel fill neck out, and that way we won't have to cut the entire bottom of the trunk floor out underneath that. Alright, working on trying to get the fuel filler sealed off. We want to keep the lower part of the trunk in there, and we're going to need to seal it off from the elements outside. So what we came up with, our cardboard template, have a piece that goes under here, matches the contour of the inner quarter, and another piece that slides down over the top, and then we will put a seal of some sort, like a piece of hose or something else, and sandwich it in there, and that way it should seal it off from the elements. And I'm getting ready to transfer that over onto metal now. Alright, we got these pieces here made out. Lower piece here, we couldn't get it enough with the bead roller to get it pushed in to match this curve, because it's extra deep right there, so we had to slit it, push it back, and then weld it so that it's all separate. And then this piece here will slide over, and then we'll bolt it through here into the fuel fill neck cover. And that's how it's going to bolt together, just right there. Alright, here it is with the quarter panel sitting on it. It's still loose though, but so you'll be able to get the fuel right in there. Alright, we welded these nuts underneath here, is on the bottom side of the floor, so we can put the fuel tank filler cover, bolt it directly to the floor instead of having to hold on the nuts and tighten them up. So this way the nuts will already be encapsulated on the trunk floor, so we're done with this part. We finally got the fuel filler neck and cover pretty much finished up. Can't go any further until we get the floor welded in, but there's our two-piece cover here for the filler neck. Sits in there, and we'll put a gasket around the opening right there. Then here is the fill neck cover. You saw the welded on nuts to the floor pan. Then we went ahead and did a little bit of pretty work and scalloped up the edge of it there. And went ahead and bolted it all down. That bolts up right now because I got to notch the floor just a hair underneath it. And then we went ahead and drilled holes here for the where we're going to weld the floor to this, so we can plug weld the floor up there when we get ready to weld the trunk plane in. Anyways, that's where we're at. Alright, I'm cutting relief here in this stainless fitting so that we can recess it into the fuel tank, so they can they can put it in there real easily and get a good weld on it. And this one turned out pretty good.
Is it done?
Yep, should be.
Yeah.
We got our fuel tank back from High Tech Welding in Lee Summit, Missouri. You can see those guys are very, very good. Really small welds down there, and then we had them weld that fitting in the tank, and this fitting here, and one underneath the tank, and then one back there. It's a lot easier to have them do it if you have everything ready to go, marked and sitting in position, so all they have to do is basically wipe it down and weld it. And that's what we did. Alright, we went ahead and pretty much got the fuel tank and neck all finished out. Obviously that's not the bolt we're going to use, but Got a piece of stainless bracket there welded on to hold the fuel fill neck in place. So it come out looking pretty good. Well, like I said, that was probably a little more detailed than it should have been, but it gives you an idea of what to expect when building a car from basically scratch or very little aftermarket parts for one like we're doing. But anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe.